is Trish and welcome to Happy, Holy, Healthy Life. Today I want to talk to you guys about some tips on how to be a Christian witness wherever you're at, whether you're going back to school or whether you're in the workforce. I think in this society today, things are getting so dark, as I'm sure you've seen over time, and there's just such a desperate need for Christians that are truly shining with the light and the love and the beauty of Jesus. And I think too, as the times get darker, there's more of a temptation to kind of go the way of the world and to almost want to hide our light. But Jesus talks about how, basically when you have a light, you don't want to hide it under a bush, you want to let it shine and be a city on a hill. And I think it's important to know too that sometimes if you really do live your life as a genuine Christian, there may be some people that don't like it. You may not fit in. You may feel kind of like you just don't belong anywhere, but that's okay. Jesus basically told us that a lot of people in the world are going to reject us as Christians, but he sees every effort you make to live for him. And there's going to be people that you meet in heaven that actually got saved because you lived your life as a Christian at work and at school. So before I start preaching the sermon, let me go ahead and jump into some of the tips. So I'm just going to start with the words that you speak. I would say that the words that a person speaks is one of the biggest indicators of what's going on the inside. And there is a Bible verse that says, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So it is really good to be looking at what are our words conveying. Specifically, I'm probably going to start with one of the hardest ones out the gate, gossip. I would say I am so impressed when I see a person and I don't hear them talking bad about anybody. I'm sure you've been, or either around the office water cooler or, at lunch or something. And, people just get started talking about other people. And it's always interesting to see who keeps their mouth closed, who jumps in with the gossip. And it's really amazing. This is really rare when somebody actually speaks out and says, hey, you know what? I don't really feel comfortable talking about this person. Or, you know what? I like this person. I think that they do a lot of awesome things. So just be mindful of the words that you're speaking, especially when it pertains to gossip. So gossip's evil twin sister is complaining. Oof, I know this is another really painful one. It is so easy to complain. And this is totally true whether you're a student or whether you're in the workforce. When you're in the workforce, it's easy to complain about the boss and about the policies and about, the district manager. When you're at school, it's easy to complain about the teachers and about the assignments and about, how the bathroom is leaking. There's just so many things to complain about, but it's always such a breath of fresh air when you're able to be around a person that has positive and uplifting words and that can bring up positive things instead of just dwelling on the negative all the time. Now, here's another kind of challenging one. How you treat authority figures is a huge possibility for you to be a really great witness. Now, when I say authority, that's basically anybody that's in charge. When you're in school, it could be teachers, professors, even teachers' assistants. When you're in the workforce, you got supervisors, bosses, presidents of companies, just anybody that's in charge. Think about how you treat them. Are you honoring to them? Think about how you speak about them. Are you constantly trying to slander them and tear them down? You have a really awesome opportunity to even witness to your bosses and teachers by how you treat them. And as a quick word, I spent the last 8 years being a teacher for middle schoolers and some elementary kids. And let me tell you, it is so nice and so refreshing when I've had students that were honoring and respecting and kind, even when other kids were, wanting to have a little mini uprising. They were sweet. Oh my gosh, it was such an encouragement. So I just want to encourage you that you can so bless the people in charge, because sometimes it seems like they're making crazy decisions, or it's like you don't even know what planet they're coming from, but you can actually bless them by being kind and being honoring, even if you don't agree with them. And if you want to up your game, you could even actually pray for them if it does seem like they're off or making bad decisions. So here's another one that's really important. You want to treat outcast, annoying, and weird people kindly. This one can also be kind of challenging. And I know especially in school, it's really hard, because in the, kind of popularity network, if you're sometimes seen talking with like the goofy kid or maybe like somebody that has special challenges of some sort, other people can start, kind of making you guilty by association and saying, oh, if you're talking to that nerd, then you're a nerd. But of course, God's kingdom works totally different. Jesus went to basically bless the poor, the outcast, the broken, the downtrodden, basically the opposite of the popular cool people. He was looking for the people that were hurting and struggling. So if you as a Christian reach out and even befriend people that are in need of love and care and kindness, oh my goodness, that is such a powerful witness. So another thing that you could do to really up your witness wherever you're at is to do whatever you do with excellence. So that means if you're at a workplace, you're getting there on time at a minimum, but even better, maybe a few minutes early. If you are a student, you're completing your assignments and you're turning in your work. Basically, you are representing Jesus in everything that you do. And it doesn't mean that you need to be a perfectionist. It doesn't even mean that you need to be a straight A student. You're just using the talents, the gifts, the abilities that God has given you, and you're actually applying yourself to make the most out of those things. And that will go a long way in being an awesome Christian witness. So I'm going to talk about some other ones that might seem to be a little bit obvious, but I'm just going to throw them out there anyway, because you never know. Language. We already talked about the words we speak, but let's talk specifically about cursing. Now, I know that this is a super sensitive issue, and it kind of depends upon maybe what Christian stream you come from. I went to an actual Christian university, and sometimes the Christian Bible professors would curse in class, and it shocked me really bad. Not that I had never ever heard a curse word, because I grew up, in a household that they cuss like sailors, but I just had it in my mind that, okay, a person that's a Christian, especially like a Christian teacher, they're going to have clean language. But it wasn't the norm at all. It was very common in the Christian college that I went to for, even the youth ministry majors and the pastoral majors to have a really serious potty mouth. So it really stuck out when somebody had clean speech and wasn't cussing up a storm. Another sensitive one I know is appearance and modesty for the ladies and for the gentlemen. I just want to, invite you to think about the kind of clothes that you're wearing. Is it something that is really revealing, really distracting, or is it something that is modest and chaste? I did a little video about modesty if you want to look back at it, and I know there's a billion modesty videos on YouTube, but it's just kind of something to think about. It just kind of reminds me again with my Christian college that I went to. There was a, Christian girl youth ministry major that literally wore volleyball shorts to class. And if you know anything about volleyball shorts, they're basically the equivalent of panties. And she was just walking around, little cheeks hanging out and everything. And this was at a Christian school youth ministry major. So it's something that, all of us have to kind of grow in perhaps, but it really makes a big difference when, women of God are dressed modestly. Just gonna leave it there. Another one I would invite you to think about is the friends that you're hanging out with. Now, it's not that you can't have friends that are not Christian. It's not that you can't witness and reach out to people. It's not even that you can't be cool with all kind of people. Those are all great, but you have to really be honest with yourself and ask yourself, are you raising them up or are they bringing you down? And one really cool analogy I heard one time was basically for you to imagine that you are standing up on a table and the person is standing on the floor and you're holding their hand. Is it easier if you're standing on a table for you to pull them up on top of the table, or is it easier for them to yank really hard and pull you down? And so it depends on, a lot of factors. Again, I wouldn't make any hard and fast rules, but I just know in my own life, a lot of times when I've been super, super close to an unbeliever, a lot of their attitudes, behaviors, language, thought processes ended up rubbing off on me and actually ended up dampening my witness. And again, coming from a teacher perspective, I've watched really, really good, awesome kids get mixed up with the wrong crowd and completely make an opposite change for the worse and kind of go downhill big time. So just good to think about your friends. And finally, one thing I'm going to throw out there is to be mindful of what you laugh at and kind of what entertainment you approve of. I had a somewhat awkward situation at work last year where actually my boss and several other teachers, because I was working at a school, basically were recommending and talking about this movie, and it's so funny and it's so great. And, they're like, oh, you should totally rent it and watch it. And I ended up looking up the previews, and I typically look up parent guides. And this was like a really, really kind of dirty movie. It was a comedy from like the 90s, but it was really, really bad. And so when they asked me like, hey, what'd you think of the movie? I had to be honest and say like, hey, I tend to not really watch movies like that. And, maybe they gave me the sideward eye for a minute and then they let it go. Not a big deal. So just think about what kind of things are you laughing at and being entertained by. So I would encourage you overall, all of these great things, we don't want to try to do them in our own strength and in our own flesh, because we could easily get discouraged and fall back into our own patterns. Your best hope of being able to live this kind of life is by being full of Jesus, so that he just spills out of everything you do. So I would encourage you, if you don't already have some kind of quiet time where maybe you're reading some scripture or a devotional, praying and worshiping, I'd encourage you to really lock that down in this next season, whether you're going back to school or whether you're in the workforce. Make it one of your goals, for this upcoming season, whatever it is for you, to really lock in your times with Jesus so you can have the strength and the power to live out a godly life. And then I would also encourage you to pray for discernment, because there's some kind of sticky, complicated situations that really only Jesus, the Holy Spirit, the Father can lead you in. Sometimes people can't tell you exactly what to do in a certain situation. And so just constantly asking God to give you discernment and wisdom for how he wants you to shine in whatever environment that he's called you to. All right. So let me know in the comment section if you have any ideas for ways that you shine for Jesus as a Christian, or times that you've struggled, any prayer requests or any video ideas. And of course, I will ask, if you've not subscribed, please subscribe and please help me out. So I'll see you guys later. Bye for now.